has to be a priority for FPX here, because can you really afford to go against SofM on the Lee Sin when Bin has the Gwen? I'm not sure you can.
Well, actually, they've opted to go for the Aphelios here. Something that wasn't as highly prioritized through the series, and maybe thinking about the dive threats that are coming through and the effectiveness it can have. You could see Thresh come in here on this rotation as well. If you want to have that safety, that strong lane for the champion, they could end up just taking, like you said, something like the Lee Sin, something like the Zhao. They have options in this situation, and I think Lee Sin makes sense with that flexibility. Obviously, we've seen Doinb absolutely pop off on this champion, so definitely one they can move around and play with.
Yep, the Lee Sin taken off of the board. So now SofM, does he go for the Zhao himself? Does he opt into the other side of that matchup? And then the next question is, where does Suning go with the last pick in this first rotation? Because they could opt into going for an AD carry early on, because that pool is almost certainly going to be pinched, or you could go for your support and set up that top side of the map.
You could even take something like the Lulu in the mid lane, which we saw working really well with Zhao. Obviously, didn't win Suning the game, but gave SofM a lot of power and agency. See what they want to do in this situation, though. They have options available to them. I think having something that can achieve priority is important. Obviously means that your jungler can be a lot more proactive in the map. So as a bare minimum, that's something I do expect. We'll see what they look to do.
Yeah, I would have been surprised to see the Zoe. It's not something that's played a massive amount right now. The Twisted Fate locked in once again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what Suning is saying right now. And FPX could look to go for an answer in the mid lane before they are banned out themselves. The Sylas was banned last time around, and we all know what Doinb can do on the Sylas. This has been one of his pocket picks in solo queue for years at this point. But it doesn't look like it'll be locked in. It's a Renekton at the end.
And I like this. I mean, one of the things with the Gwen is you can punish it, you can shut it down. We've seen teams do that before. And Renekton is a pick that can cause issues. So if FPX are wanting to play around the top side, this is a viable pick to do so. I think for bans here, Suning, I think Sylas is a decent shout. I think Thresh is also a solid option, as it's so good with that Aphelios. FPX are targeting that Rakan away from Ong. I think you could also take Leon off the cards, but actually, you're going to ban away that Kennen instead. Still concerned about that team fight potential.
Banning away the Kennen. Draven taken away from Huanfeng. I love the amount of respect people give to Huanfeng's Draven. He plays it so rarely, and yet so often you see it banned away against him. And now Suning, once again, they could ban another top laner, try and set Bin up for success. Maybe something like the Jayce that is known to be able to do well into the Gwen on the top side. But Bin didn't seem to struggle against the Jayce in the last game, so they're going to ban the Galleon.
Now for FPX, they can sort of decide where that Renekton is and look a pick in there. Kind of reveals their flex, or they could look... You know, I feel like the Thresh here is so good. You know, I was saying I feel like they should ban it. It's got pretty good into almost every matchup. It doesn't really have that many bad matchups because it can work as a defensive pick and work as an offensive pick. And it gives that extra safety net to that Aphelios. So I completely agree with this pickup from FPX. There's not really anything Suning can pick in the bot lane here that's going to be too problematic. They are going to instantly lock that Jinx in, though. And I think maybe leaning into that Braum as well. It's a strong 2v2 combo. It's not necessarily going to be able to do too much to the Thresh Aphelios. Braum not the most aggressive pick, but they will lock that in. And now for Doinb, toying with ideas, the Sylas is probably the one I would think, but we'll see what he ends up committing to.
Plenty of options still available. The Sylas, the Ryze once again, if they really wanted to, because it does have that roam potential that Twisted Fate has, but didn't really work out in the last game. So changing tack this time, and this Sylas comes on through. And when you look across this composition here from FPX, it just screams topside, doesn't it? You've got the Sylas there that can roam alongside the Twisted Fate. You've got a weak side of Aphelios there, and you've got a Renekton for Nuguri with Tian on the Lee Sin. They want to get into a brawl on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this bot lane seems like it's going to be pretty boring. Two hyper carries, two kind of defensive supports who won't really be able to do too much to each other. It is going to be topside lean. That's why they went for the Renekton for Nuguri. That's because they want to shut down this Gwen and just pummel Bin into the ground. They don't want to give any opportunity for this pick to get rolling and do what it did in the last game. So I like the decision. I feel like the fact they have the Sylas as well means the TF's pressure is going to be matched. So I want to see that productivity. I want to see you pathing bot to top. I want to see you leaning into that Gwen.
That's going to be the matchup to watch out for. It's the matchup we were talking about at the start of the day. It is the rematch of the world's final top lane. Bin versus Nuguri, and this time they both have carries that they're happy with. This time they both have aggressive early junglers that can be set up to come and play on the top side. And they both have weak side bottom laners that are happy to be left on their own and just farm it up. So it does feel like the perfect storm to see both teams playing up towards the top side. I think the big difference this time, though, is Doinb on the Sylas against Angel's TF. Because yes, Twisted Fate can roam around the map well, but once Sylas gets a few levels, he can definitely take TF on in a 1v1.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously you can just steal his ult so you can match him. It will be a longer cooldown, of course, but all you need to do is match one ult the critical time, and you can obviously dissuade that, and Doinb will also likely be running the TP and use that to match as well. Now, we had some exciting game 1, exciting game 2, and this one looks like it's really amping up to be a pretty exciting one, which when you think back to Harry Potter, that was really where the books started to get quite exciting, was with
No.
You don't think?
I'm on board. I'm on board with the Harry Potter conversation. I'm on board with the memes. I'm not on board with suggesting that it only gets good after number 2. Chamber of Secrets is lit, dude. It is,
Prisoner of Azkaban,
in my
was a
opinion,
banger. Come
the
on.
best story in them. You get to learn about Sirius Black. You get to learn the story of Tom Riddle as a kid as well. It's such a great book.
Azkaban was where it really started to take momentum, is all I'm saying. You know, maybe this is the end of us as a casting duo if we can't agree on this, Joe. This is big.
Look, at this point, I thought you were Tom Riddle, right? I thought you were a nice young boy. A little bit of a problem with killing animals and stuff, but generally all right. But you're turning into a bit more of a Voldemort at this point.
Oh, wow. That's cold, man. That's cold.
All right, let's talk early game. We've got SofM at the top side. Will the Harry Potter references ever end? That's what the chat is wondering. As Bing gets an aggressive trade at the top side. SofM pathing down, Tian pathing up.
Yep, that's what I like to see from Tian. Path towards Renekton. And obviously, Nuguri can't really actually contest the wave level 1. Renekton kind of spikes at the level 3 point when he can combo his abilities together, whereas one of the strengths of Gwen is she's just like the most broken level 1 champion in the game. You E forwards, you auto attack, you out trade anyone, you have a massive attack speed steroid at that point, so does mean that it'll be an overextended Bin potentially who doesn't have that flash available, and with SofM pathing towards the bot side, it's definitely a potential vulnerability.
Certainly could be. And remember, Angel, Doinb, they do have the TPs. So just because at level 6 they have big run potential, remember when it comes to important matches like this, when you're in match 3 of the series, creative plays can often be the decision-making moments. And SofM knows exactly that. There's a ward in. Tian doesn't know that SofM knows. He likes critical information. Did he
pinged? He
spot the
pinged.
ward?
I think he must be aware.
I think he saw the ward. He saw the very end of it, but Tian has to jump away from the play. Sonic Wave doesn't land in time. It's going to be a spike fight between them, and it's SofM that gets it. The red buff stolen away here, as Bin was hovering towards the play as well. We'll channel his recall. This might be a double skull for SofM. Could certainly get the top one. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get bot as well.
I mean, he has prior bot and mid, so he might just build a beeline towards it. And the thing is, this is set Tian behind. We wanted to see him head towards the top side, look to enact pressure on Bin, but because of that scuffle in the jungle, Bin's actually been able to get a reset on the back of that and is in a pretty comfortable spot. So SofM, creative jungling, finding himself an advantage as sort of translated to his team.
Beautifully done. Now helps Angel push out that mid wave so that there is no universe where Tian can contest this bot side scuttle crab. As you said, priority in the bot lane as well. A beautifully executed early game here from SofM to take control. And look, they're even in CS right now. SofM's going to have a minus CS lead. He still has his whole bottom quadrant of his jungle up.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of things to do, and that's one of the things that's so valuable with these invades, and be able to shut down the enemy jungler, especially with the longer spawn time on camps. You end up in this scenario where you just literally have nothing to do. I mean, look at Tian. He's just wandering around. He's not going to commit to the bot side towards his Grump because he doesn't want to leave Nuguri isolated, so he heads up here, gets a bit of vision, but he's not doing anything. He's gonna eventually be able to find this Grump on the respawn and contest that, but SofM's already level 4, already up 3 camps on him.
Yeah, this is a brutal start in favor of SofM and a really good start for Sunik. And remember that the further ahead SofM is, the more that also enables Angel to roam around the map. Because one of the big things we often see with Twisted Fates, if they start to lose out early, if they get pushed under their tower, if their jungler lose control of the game, it's very difficult to make those roams happen. When SofM is finding an individual lead by himself already, it does make things a lot easier for Angel to execute in these side lanes.
And the thing is, as well as that, the Renekton into Gwen matchup, we wanted to see the pressure applied early. We want to see the gank onto Bin, shut that pick down. It hasn't come. You know, Bin's closing on level 6 where he gets a lot more power in the matchup. And if they miss that opportunity, they may not get another chance to really apply that pressure. Now, something I will say is that because Tian invaded this top side, cleared it out, SofM is forced to go into the bot lane.
And Crisp is in trouble here. Flash from On to get the slow. That's 2 stacks of the passive. Gold card comes in, and the stun stacked here, but Crisp, he's already used his flash. There's no way out of this one. Give the kill over to Angel if you can. The wild card's dodged, and it's On that just takes it. He knows that somebody has to take it. They can't let him get away. Wolves will be taken by SofM, though. A smite going to be used quite happily for that one. Drake is onto the map, and Cernan could just go for a super early Drake if they wanted to.
Yeah, potentially could. I think they may be toying with the idea, but they may want to invade and steal a little bit more of the jungle. The Gromp is available and the blue spawning soon. Suning just are unrelenting, and Tian is kind of getting shut out this game. And again, you know, is Tian miles behind SofM? No. It's not like enough of a lead that the game's over for him. But we talked about the key win conditions for this team was shutting the Gwen down early. That's the reason you should be, in theory, okay with Bin having it, because you pick the Renekton, you plan to absolutely annihilate it. But you need that help from your jungler to be able to do so. And with the way the game's gone now, you're not really going to get it at all.
Does feel difficult. Crisp moving in, though. It is going to be the crab taken in the end. Double TF ults coming in. SofM taking out the hook from Crisp. That was so clean onto Angel. Does get a gold card out, so he might be able to walk away here. On trying to body block for his mid laner, and the Unbreakable keeps him safe. SofM goes down in the end, and I believe the crab might have been taken by FPX.
I think Crisp might have got it with the Flay. It went down to a really low amount of HP, and then something like AoE hit it, and I think it was the Flay from Crisp. I'm not sure, but regardless, it was FPX who picked it up. And now they're looking towards that early dragon. Tian really far behind, but his team do a concerted effort to try and get him back into the game, and overall, it's pretty successful.
And this is kind of... honestly, it reminds me of me when I played jungle with a lead in solo queue. You see the Gromp spawning. Drake is up. You could go for Drake. You could go for the crab. There's a Gromp there as well. And you try and bite off a little more than you can chew, and FPX punish SofM so heavily for that.
And the big thing is Doinb gets the kill as well, and the Silas was kind of shifted. We'll get a replay. So I believe that was the Flay there that did kill it. So Crisp, I think, got that. Great hook from Crisp just to continue this play, and obviously unable to get more off the back of it, but they forced summoners, they forced them away, and FPX finding a little bit of momentum in this game where it felt like they were being choked out.
Yeah, FPX kind of staying afloat with that play, right? Managing to even things up and make sure that they are in this game. Bin gonna start the Rift Herald off by himself here as Nuguri pushing that top side. It's gonna be SofM grabbing his Gromp and then moving over towards the Herald himself. Bin, you expect, will start to move up towards that top side instead and let SofM finish this Herald off, because there is a wave crashing underneath the tower, but it looks like Bin's just going to stick around. They want to try and force this one as fast as possible. Doinb stolen away On's ultimate. Herald taken, but denied by the looks of things. On could be in trouble. There's a CC chain and a half from Doinb as he finds himself a solo kill. The Herald is denied, and FPX, they may have fallen slightly behind at the start, but it does not matter at all.
And there's no value game for this Herald. All you do is deny in this situation. It's the fact that, you know, we still see On die, right? He still goes down. The whole plan there was let's back away because we're not able to get the Herald without losing a member, but you still lose a member. If anything, On should have just suicided for the Herald, and at least you get something out of it. It's a massive, you know, failure there for Suning, and FPX punishing again and again, and these kills are going on to Doinb on this Silas. He is going to be a scary prospect in this game.
Yeah, Doinb is getting really far ahead. We talk about it all the time with Knight. Lwx thought the turret was going to get another shot in there. We always talk about Silas with Knight. Well, Doinb is just as scary on this Silas pick. He's already got 2 kills for himself. and he has the power to just completely take over this game. And remember, the LWX is on Aphelios. It's not like they don't have any late game threat on this side for FPX, so it feels very, very good for them. They are still a tiny bit of gold behind in this game, but it is insignificant at best comparatively to where that gold is placed. So much in the pocket of Doinb feels really good for FPX.
And we're starting to see in the top lane, Nuguri dashes in the bin barely phased, you know, and he's just able to turn it around. And remember, bin has Ignite as well, so I don't think Nuguri's winning this 1v1 at this point, and I don't think it's going to get better either. That window of opportunity to punish with the Renekton, not there.
And it goes in onto SofM. The flash kick comes in and Doinb takes him out. You want a mid-jungle 2v2? Here's a mid-jungle 2v2. Doinb and Tian just body SofM.
Really clean, and SofM, you know, a great early game, but he's starting to get punished, and that's bleeding over into the mid lane. This top lane matchup, I've highlighted it. It didn't go the way we'd hoped, but it doesn't really matter if the rest of your team are planning advantages.
Oh,
Look for On here.
Look at this. FPX are feeling it right now. On 1 HP, walks away with his life there. LWX had already hit 6 and goes for the Moonlight Vigil. Bin trying to chase Tian out of this side of the map. He's in a 2v1 here. If he commits to the play, should be able to take away this wave. It's only going to be 2 plates, but Nuguri still getting himself a couple of plates. He's going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the pressure bleeding out from this mid lane advantage they found. Well, from the mid jungle advantage, it bleeds in the mid, they get a couple of plates. It bleeds in the top, they get a plate. And now it's starting to feel a little bit rough for Suning. FPX with that advantage. The early lead from SofM really eclipsed at this point. Tian is still a little bit down in XP, but it's not too relevant. And again, more kills for Doinb at this point. It's getting more and more and more of an issue in this game. Still got the Crescent Guard that kind of will help him keep him safe, but I think they are going to look for him here.
Yeah, he's TP'd in. SofM knows that Tian is not on this side of the map right now. You can see Tian over at Grom, just starting that one off. I don't think Doinb is going to bite. He's not going to be willing to try and make that play. Knows there are too many people missing on the map. And SofM just has to settle for that Scuttle Crab. And I do want to revisit that jungle lead that you were just talking about. Right now, SofM about 20 CS ahead. He is still individually ahead in that jungle matchup. It's just that Doinb has done such a good job of roaming and punishing whatever SofM tries to do. And that momentum from that lead is all but gone.
Yeah, and the level difference has also been eclipsed as well, which was a major factor. And now I feel like you can't really even say SofM's going to offer more than Tian on the Lee Sin right now. Whereas the mid lane difference is a pretty relevant factor. And you see FPX feeling confident just to stop this dragon. LWX is another player who's just been unchecked this game. Has that Kraken Slayer completed. And with the Thresh safety net, you feel pretty confident go for these more proactive plays. Now, still, it just feels like this top lane matchup, especially Bin now completed the Rift Maker, that is the kind of saving grace for Suning here, is that this top lane matchup still going in favor of Bin. And we saw what he could do last game on this champion.
We've seen what he can do a lot of times on this champion at this point, because
he's pretty good.
He's one of those players that it feels like if you give him Gwen, if you give him any of his comfortable picks, Camille especially, he is just going to dominate that top side. And at the end of the day, like, he has played Gwen 7 times. He's won 5 of those games. Well, I guess 6 now, because this is probably not including that last game. He has a 70% win rate. His average KDA is over 3. Like, he just dominates the game whenever he gets this Gwen.
And that is going to be the concern for the side of FPX, because when I look at the later game scaling, you know, TF does pretty well in the late stages. Jinx does pretty good in the late stages. Bin is the big pivotal point that kind of pushes it in Suning's favor, because Aphelios, Silas, both solid, but the concern is what that Gwen can do. If he finds backline access, if he gets up close to LWX, the needlework just does so much damage. You can shred through an entire team, as we kept seeing again and again in that game too.
So FPX doing a really good job to keep their foot on the accelerator here and keep pushing the game forward. It's going to be plates traded on the bottom side for the top side, as SofM toying with the idea of a dive here, but I'm not sure that this is a wise idea. They're going to go for it anyway. Nuguri trading back very efficiently here. Oh, and the TP cancelled. Doinb cannot make the play up top, and it means Nuguri's in trouble. The needlework under the tower, the snipe from Bin, and Huanfeng throws a rocket up as Crowny's Comet flies on by. It's going to be the top lane tower taken.
Yeah, FPX do get that first tower on the bot side, and actually, they get some more plates as well. If you look, that's only one plate for the side of Suning. Because they were delayed by the dive, they didn't get to pick up any before it went past 14 minutes. So, yes, Suning get the kill, but they actually lose out massively in the play because they missed that first tower gold and all those plates. FPX pretty far ahead on this one, and a lot of that gold is going onto that 80 carry now. Crisp is looking for Bin. TP coming down.
Yeah, Nuguri TPing into the play. Crisp will not let Bin out of the play. There's nothing Bin can do to survive this one. Great answer from Crisp. Newly back onto the roster once again, and very much recovered by the look of his form in the last series and in this one.
And the thing here is that the one advantage that Suning found there was the kill, right? Because you're trading down in terms of towers, in terms of plates, in terms of the first tower. Well, I mean, equal in towers, but the first tower gold. And as soon as Crisp makes that play, you've now equalized in terms of the kill that Suning had the advantage with. And actually, with this pressure, FPX going to be able to take another tower. So it's just a massive win for the side of FPX. The setup coming in from them a lot more effective on the bot side of the map. And now you actually see Tian also taking the Herald, which they can potentially use to craft open. I was going to say craft open mid, but mid's already gone. That's all three out of towers gone in like the blink of an eye. 3,000 gold lead for FPX, and they're going to secure this Herald. It feels like they've set a pace for this game. Soon they're not really able to keep up with it right now.
And this is exactly what FPX are specialists at, right? When they find themselves a lead, they dominate the rest of the game. They take over, and Doinb, especially when he is ahead individually, will be everywhere he needs to be on the map. His understanding of how to play the map in League of Legends is near unparalleled, honestly. It's so beautiful to witness. Let's take another look at the dive and the top side. I want to see what cancelled. It must have just been a gold card on Doinb.
Yeah, I assume that was it. We do get to see it. So yeah, gold card comes in. Doinb not paying too much attention there. And as a result, Nuguri, I think, went a bit far forwards, thinking, I'm going to have backup here. I'm going to have reinforcements. The final needlework doing a ton of damage. And now we're seeing more of a fight.
Another fight is SofM starting this one off. Huanfeng is here, though. Rockets over the wall onto Doinb, but he's got a Crescent Guard to keep him alive. Angel flashes out. Doinb. Oh, that was a clutch Zhonya's if I've ever seen one. In fact, it wasn't even a Zhonya's, just a stopwatch. But it keeps him safe from the rocket of Huanfeng.
Yeah, using the Crescent Guard as well to buy a ton of time. Would you see Bin able to take that tower on the bot side in return for this play? But FPX not one to be punished on the back of that. And now setting up for this third dragon. I don't think really sitting on a great position to contest this one. On literally just reset now. It's up at 18 seconds. Vision control in favor of FPX. And this is an Infernal Soul. And this is the third dragon. I think FPX can just rush this one.
And the thing is, a lot of ults on cooldown right now for Suning. They only have the needlework, whereas FPX, they've got Dominus, they've got Dragon's Rage, and Doinb can just hijack someone else's ult. Silas's ult CD is exceptionally low, so feels like FPX in prime position to get themselves onto Soul Point, and importantly, put Suning on a timer. Remember, they're running with a crit AD carry. Huanfeng not only is playing a champion that takes a long time to get online, but is down in items right now. Heads back to base, picks up a Zeal, but you can see Lwx, with all of those plates he got earlier, is well ahead in the gold department.
You already got that Runan's finish, which puts him in a really powerful spot. Now, FPX going to throw down the Herald in the bot lane, apply pressure to the tower, but they're looking for a fight here.
They dive on in. Dragon's Rage across the team as well. On is going to be there as SofM dives in, but knocks Doinb out to safety there. Not sure that was quite the play he was intending, as the Herald just hammering away on the tower in the bottom side. Suning at least stopped the pressure.
Yeah, a little bit messy, kind of going a little bit back and forth, but SofM ends up burning his flash in that situation. They also committed the TP from Bin, so I think FPX can still be happy with that scenario. They got what they wanted in terms of the dragon, and now, you know, Baron spawning in a minute 25, but all FPX have to do is wait for that dragon, be in a position of strength when it spawns, and then Suning are forced to fight them or sacrifice an Infernal Dragon, which puts you in such a rough spot.
Yeah, I mean, you can't forfeit the Infernal trait. It's just not an option. Like, Infernal Soul is terrifying to deal with, especially when it's on an Aphelios, when it's on a Sylas. These champions that really do scale well and can blow you up. So, not something that Suning can afford to do. That's 3.5 minutes away. But Baron is on the cards in 45 seconds. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past FPX right now.
I probably wouldn't put it past them, but I don't think it's a smart decision because Angel has the Destiny that can just call out anytime. You have the Super Mega Death Rocket, which you can fire over to like check as well. I think it's hard to sneak it, and I think if you do start it and the enemy Suning are aware, it is risky. You know, I don't mind them controlling the vision in the area, but I think a flat start could be the one thing that kind of throws the game from this position. I think just play for the Dragon. That is really where you're going to be strong. But LWX,
Zap and LWX.
Power of the Thresh.
Okay. Yep, the Prince of Bel-Air stepping forwards there. Crisp is able to save his AD carry to play B-ball another day. But LWX going to return to clear the wave in the mid lane. And it does feel like things have slowed down. FPX, this is one of the things about this team. And it's one of the things about actually good League of Legends is ultimately FPX don't need to fight, right? And they're well aware of that fact. They're not going to just fight for the sake of it unless On mispositions and just gets caught out in the jungle. And then I guess it's not really a fight, right? At that point, that's not fighting, that's bullying. Yep,
literally On just caught out on that Braum. No one to jump to, which obviously renders them a little bit vulnerable. And I think you saw this complete confidence from Suning because they pushed the wave in bot. They had been moved with them. They were 5 men strong. So they're able to push up and get some control. And then they had to back away as we saw Angel move bot side of the map. And I think On just like a little bit disconnected from his team there to get punished. There won't be anything really to come from it for FPX. It's just an extra little bit of gold. And you can definitely feel that they don't really want to go for this Baron. They want to wait for that Dragon. Because the thing is, if you go for the Dragon, even if Suning steal it, if you win the fight, you're probably getting Baron off the back of it. Whereas if you go Baron, you know, Suning could steal it. Suning could win the fight off it. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it is the safer play. Stacks the deck in their favor. And,
I mean, ultimately, if you just win the 50-50 smite, even if you lose, even if Suning wins the fight and gets the Baron, like, you still have Infernal Soul for the rest of the game. Like, Baron is temporary. Infernal Soul is forever. So, definitely a good-looking trade for FPX if they can play for that objective. I agree with you there.
You can see they go for the last reset before the objective, and now it's kind of going to be the battle of mid-priority. Establish that, you can rotate through. What I actually like, we've seen Nuguri already moving to the river to try and establish some control with Tian. Suning can't really walk up and contest this now. But I think maybe if Angel starts to move in, they could. Obviously, Doinb is trying to apply pressure in that top wave, have it pushing, and he needs to group with his team. So I think Suning know they have the quicker response here with the TF. And the fact that he's vanished from vision means that FPX have to respect him until Doinb groups up.
And Angel actually TPing to the bot side here. Doinb gonna reset, and you expect him to TP over towards his Drake play. But look at that control ward. It's gonna be TP'd onto by Doinb. It's gonna be Angel in trouble here. The Everfrost flash from though. And actually Doinb using his E a little bit early. He thought he'd be able to get the Everfrost and dash onto it. Been in a 2v1 here. Angel comes to back him up, and they've managed to find a pick. It's going to be Tian, of all people, being picked off by Suning. And maybe, just maybe, there's a window here for Suning. They have a 2-item Jinx here. The Hurricane is going strong for Huanfeng, who should be able to clean up this team fight. Crisp, low on the front line. In they go for the fight. Crisp goes down. That's one for SofM as they look towards the Drake. That's a Moonlight Vigil, but Huanfeng still going here as Nuguri jumps onto the backline. Onto the AD carry. Cleanse comes out. It's going to be Braum passive for SofM. Surviving. Huanfeng flashes us away. On desperately trying to escape. LWX cannot finish the kills. SofM, can he make the miracle happen? The W in, but he can't go for it. And the Infernal Soul is taken by FPX.
Suning doing their best there. They take out the jungler. It looks like it's a one scenario, but they don't have the fighting power to continue it. It looks okay at first, but as soon as LWX starts pushing forwards into the fight, he's doing so much damage. You can watch the replay here. So Angel caught out a bit, and Doinb actually misplays this. I think he should have used the speed to get up the wall, then dashed over. But Bin comes in, and he does a ton of damage, but he's actually getting bursted pretty heavily by the Dragon's Rage and Doinb. And now it's a 1-for-1. Obviously, the smite's down, but losing Bin, I think, hurts the team fight so much more for Suning. So FPX make the decision. We are going to fight this. We don't want a coin. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a coin flip when you don't have a smite. And initially, you know, things look favored for Suning. They burst out Crisp here. They start chunking out Nuguri and dealing with him, but Doinb finds this great target selection here, and then LWX starts pushing forwards as the work has been done by his solo lane. As everyone's low, he can go up, he can force them away, and as much as they escape, they're chunked so heavily, the contest can't be there.
Really exceptional stuff coming out from FPX. This is the coordination that we know and expect. And Doinb once again, even with the minor misplay on the opening play there, still being a huge factor in the team fight, still able to take over and push Huanfeng away. That was the most important thing, it felt like. Just keep Huanfeng out of the fight. If Huanfeng is only hitting onto our Thresh and onto our Renekton, while Bin isn't a factor, there is no damage on this Suning team. There's nothing else Suning can do to win the fight. So now, Infernal Soul for FPX. This is not going to get any easier for Suning.
No, it's rough. The extra burst damage pretty significant. And it's still not a massive gold lead, but you have to think about the amount of value they're getting off the back of that. It's pretty substantial. It gives them a lot of fighting power. Now FPX feel confident to lean up towards that top side, really zone away on the vision, and if Suning come and face check them, I'm certain FPX will be ready for a fight.
Now Suning do have that destiny for Angel, so if they can find a small window, if somebody oversteps from the side of FPX, Suning can collapse and try and find a pick that way. Destiny actually going to be used here. Perhaps Tian could be a target, but I don't think the rest of Suning are really in a position to do so. They were just trying to check if Baron was being done already.
Yeah, I think just trying to use the vision just to make sure they have full information. I think it's a little bit weird when Lwx was in vision because he kind of needs to be there to be dealing damage to it. Now with the Destiny down, they're going to start this up. TP already committed here by Bin.
Here we go. Suning arrive on the scene. TP's being used, as you say, on. Going to be caught up by the Everfrost. His own ult used onto him, but he's still pretty healthy, honestly. There's a lot committed to not much of a goal there as the hook goes onto SofM. And Suning, I mean, honestly, they're going to be happy with the way that ended up going.
Yeah, I mean, it's two sides of the coin, you know. Suning, they stopped the Baron. They didn't lose anyone. That's fine. But FPX, they got the TP from Bin. And realistically, that could just be all they were actually looking for off the back of that play. And if they saw a window to engage, great. If not, cool. We can just reset, spend a bit of gold, try that again. And I don't think they're too concerned about this game going later. And, I mean, obviously, I talked about how both teams are scaling options. The Gwen is probably the only sort of like one that I'm kind of concerned about for FPX, but with the Infernal Soul, you feel so much more confident to go late.
And we have to mention once again, the Jinx is going to be a terror later on, and if you can free fire, but Nuguri all series has done such a good job of shutting Huanfeng down, not allowing him to have that space. We saw him on the Nocturne in game number 1, now we're seeing it on the Renekton here in game number 3. Suning pushed into their base here, and Baron is on the cards for FPX once more.
Start this one up, and it's going to be on Angel to move over. Has the TP and the Destiny. But the TP's coming in from Nuguri. They're committing to this 100%. They want to finish.
I'm going to try. Hook comes in from Crisp onto On. Doinb with the Everfrost. There's Baron gone, and Doinb wants the fight as well. Jumps in, present guard, keeping himself safe for now. SofM with the re-engage. It's Nuguri on the front line as the target here. Huanfeng free firing. This Doinb on the back line. I think it's going to be 1-for-1 here, but Huanfeng is down. Doinb with a double kill, and he wants a little bit more on top of it. SofM chased down for the hat trick, and now Bin finds himself alone with just a pair of scissors, and I tell you, you cannot run with those. A quadra kill for Doinb, and that might just be game.
Think it might be. Beautiful kick comes out from Tian to get the Jinx, and you said going to be a problem that Tian solved instantly there. 4 members strong. They're going to keep the minion alive and tank the tower themselves, but there's another wave coming in. Only Angel defend. I think this is just going to be the game close, although actually they're making the decision to back off, play it safe, don't want to over push, and this has kind of been the story of FPX in this game. They haven't overstepped. They haven't given a single window to Suning to really get back into this game.
And the key thing is, respawns are coming through from Suning. Elder is up in 50 seconds. If FPX overstays there, ends up going down, or even just a couple of people go down with the death timers, that could have been an Elder trait for Suning. That could have been a way to throw the game. FPX super respectful.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously Doinb absolutely popping off, but the kick coming out here from Tian, really excellent. I believe was what knocked Huanfeng all the way forwards. Flies in, gets the kick flash. Jinx straight in the middle. Now, we don't have time for the rest of the replay. Fight's going on.
Let's see how this one's going to go down. Elder in 20 seconds, but FPX, they can just threaten ending the game instead. It's very difficult for Suning to deal with. been on the front line. Has actually used his Hallowed Mist, though, which makes it very difficult to get into the middle of the next skirmish, and FPX continue to just threaten the end of the game here. Tian maybe has been caught, but the ward jump to safety. Suning, they're being raced into their own base. Tian goes down. Can they find more? FPX are just going on to the Nexus. Sod the team fight. They're just going to end the game. Oh. FPX don't care about your fight. They want the series.
And it's a great decision from FPX. They get the back door through the front door. Essentially, they just steam forwards. Suning out-rotated there when they pushed to try and contest the Elder Dragon. It was a slower game. It was a methodical game. But FPX really performing well and closing this one out and making sure that they finished this series with a win. Because there was moments, definitely moments, where it felt like Suning could have had this one in the bag. But I think FPX showing they can control the outcome.
Really exceptional performance coming out from FPX in game number 3. And honestly, from start to end, it felt like FPX were going to take that third game. It felt like they were in control, and there was a couple of good moments. I mean, the very, very beginning, SofM really intelligent jungle pathing to start it off, but then gets caught a couple of times. And from that moment, from SofM getting caught, felt like that jungle lead that he'd garnered for himself did not matter for the rest of the game. And FPX just play so well with their tempo. They play so well at controlling that map.
Feels like one mistake from the enemy team is like a seed, and they just nourish it until it becomes like a giant oak tree. It just
like a Whomping Willow, if you will.
Yeah, Whomping Willow, actually. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I wonder what happened to the Harry Potter references. You know, we kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit there, Joe. But yeah,
we only got 20 in across the cast. That was a conscious decision to drop it with the Harry Potter references. To be honest, I think we maybe overdid it.
Well, I think we can firmly say that FPX won the Triwizard tournament on that one. But yeah, I mean, really solid performances.
Soon going full Cedric Diggory.
I think you can see at the end, and this is kind of the thing we've seen from FPX. It's like, you know, it was a slow one. There was like a steady advantage built, and then we have that skyrocket, the Mariana Trench again, where they just accelerate the game and they're like, okay, we are ending now. The kill score isn't even massively favored towards them. And I think we can definitely say that FPX are one of our smarter teams in the league. They understand how to push those advantages, how to play the map. They have very skilled individuals, but I don't think that's the really scary thing, because they put them in a position where they're able to pop off. They set things up so effectively when it comes to those team fights. And on top of that, we get to those moments like the Tian kick on the Jinx, which was flawless. Doinb just, in general, I feel like is the only way I can describe it from that game.
Yeah, Doinb, he's going to be our MVP coming out of that one as well, because, I mean, who's surprised? He had a flawless KDA by the end of things, just took over on the Sylas. I honestly think Sylas is maybe the most underrated pick in this entire meta. We see consistently players like Doinb, like Knight, able to just completely take over the game in the right circumstances. It's almost never banned.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because I have seen times where it's kind of shut down a bit in lane, but I can say the same for Gwen, right? And Gwen's super hotly contested. Like in the late game situations, it's so powerful. Maybe the one thing you can say is that, you know, you want to have a good selection of ults to steal from, but you know, there's so many champions in the game with broken ultimates that you can sort of choose from. At least an example of someone who has a very good ultimate, as you can see from Tian here. I want to bring up again because it's just so clean.
Yeah, there it is. Beautiful little kick. And Tian, you know, making his name known in this game. Did exactly 999 damage in that fight. And honestly, Huanfeng needed to call an ambulance, so it seems only appropriate. That's our equivalent of 911 for anyone that doesn't know the English emergency number, because I realized that it's actually a super niche reference for people watching from the rest of the world. Beautiful game coming out from FPX. And ultimately, I think an expected win here. I would say, I think Suning did well to get a game in this series. They did well to have two very close games in the series. But I can't say I'm surprised to see FPX with the dub at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, you know, we went into this thinking FPX going to come out favored. Credit to Suning. They definitely made it close. They had good performances in their win. And obviously in that last game, even the start from SofM was pretty solid. But it definitely feels like FPX are just a cut above. And the question is on Suning to sort of develop. It's not long till we sort of getting towards playoffs. They're still in a decent spot to be making playoffs and should be able to lock that in. And it's just making sure you're improving and you're working on those mistakes, because it was just those critical mistakes in the last game that really cost them, set SofM behind, and then obviously allowed FPX to take control. And that's the thing, when you're going up against the top teams in this league, it only takes a couple of mistakes, if even just one mistake, and the game's kind of thrown away.
Yeah, definitely feels that way. And I think one of the big things with Suning as well is I would love to see them lean much more towards having Angel on things like the Sylas himself, because we've seen things like the Lulu come through. We've seen things like this Twisted Fate come through. And honestly, I'm not super convinced by the Twisted Fate from Angel. I know it's a style they've played in the past, but it's always felt like they're not quite able to be as proactive as you need to be with a Twisted Fate a lot of the time in the early game. It doesn't ever quite feel like Suning are the best at this style of composition. It feels like they want to be. They try it all the time, but it never feels like it works out for me.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is, I mean, Doinb is just such a good player finding those windows to move on the map individually, but also, you pick TF, they pick Sylas, and then they get Sylas, who has TF ult. So it's like you get the best of both worlds, And I feel like that's one of the problems with it. There's a lot of picks that can challenge it early in the meta. There's a lot of picks. It's not necessarily the best in skirmishes. It's good at finding the numbers advantage. But if you're in a straight up fight, there are picks that can perform better. And I think that's kind of the problem, is that it just doesn't have enough early presence in those skirmishes, other than the fact that it can obviously join them very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can find yourself numbers advantages, but when you're against an intelligent team like FPX, who know exactly what you want to do in the early game, they can do an amazing job of shutting it down. We're going to head over to the stage, though, to Wendy once more, as we have our recovering member of FPX, Crisp, who's back on stage.